everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card using the stamp set called Cattitude. Super cute background panel of all different kinds of cats and awesome sayings. I'm also going to use seasonal borders and stitched rectangles. So let's get started. I've mounted the large stamp into my MISTI because it's a lot easier to stamp these background stamps using a stamp platform. And I'm inking it up using black ink because I'm going to color in a few of the cats using the tri-blend markers. I'm going to stamp this out. So I'm going to stamp 2 of these because I'm going to be cutting down these panels using the stitched rectangles. So just inking it up really well and stamping it out. So we'll get 2 of these. The stamp set is so much fun. You could fussy cut some of these little kitties out or use the whole panel or break it up like I'm going to. Okay, so we've got those panels stamped out. Now I'm going to use the stitched rectangles and I'm going to cut out the smallest rectangle. It's going to be the inner rectangle. And I'm kind of cherry picking where I want my image to be cut because I'm going to be coloring in a few of the cats within this cut piece. So I'm just placing my rectangle down and cutting that guy out. It's a repetitive pattern if you look closely at it. So I'm kind of figuring out which cats I want to have within that rectangle. So I'm cutting a couple of those out from that panel, and then I'll cut another one out from the other panel. And this stitched rectangle, it makes an inner rectangle like you see with the cat design, but it also cuts a frame. So I'm going to pick out which section of the design I want to cut again. I'm trying to get different cats in each one. And then after I cut this third rectangle out, I'm going to cut frames out using Bluebird cardstock, and I'll do that off camera. So I'll have 3 frames of Bluebird that fit those inner rectangles. Okay. So off screen, I'll cut out those rectangle frames, and I'm going to color in a few of the cats within these rectangles using the tri-blend markers. So now I have all my rectangles colored and cut and ready to go to start assembling my card. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Versamark ink and heat emboss it with white detail powder. So I'm going to stamp out the sentiment that says, "You are my favorite human." I love that. And then I'll sprinkle the Versamark ink with white detail embossing powder. Okay, just knocking off a couple strays here, and then I'll heat it up and melt that embossing powder with my heat tool. So I've sped this up super fast, so you can watch the magic. Now I have my sentiment, and now I'm going to stamp some of these tiny stars from the seasonal borders stamp set. I'm going to stamp a row of stars at the top and bottom of this panel of white daisy. I could have just stamped it on the card base, but I wanted to do it on this piece of white daisy cardstock just in case I messed it up and I'd have a do-over. So just stamping along the bottom and the top, and it's a repetitive design, so if you're careful you can match it up to continue that border strip. And keep going. So I'm using some scratch paper behind my piece of white daisy cardstock to catch the excess that goes over the edge of that panel. Okay, I think that's gonna work. All right, So now we can start assembling our card. So I'm going to buff out this embossed piece and get the anti-static powder off of it. And then I'm going to trim this out just by hand. I'm going to make flag out each end of this sentiment. I'm going to dovetail each end. So I'm just trimming it in my trimmer and straightening it out because I didn't stamp it straight. So you can fix that when you trim your piece out, and then I'm going to dovetail. So just snip in the center and then take each of your corners to make that snip. And then you have your little dovetailed end. So I'm going to do that on both sides. And just kind of fixing the first one because I didn't like the angle that I had snipped it at. So cleaning that up. Okay, so that's good to go. Now we're ready to start assembling our card. So I'm going to attach my White Daisy stamped piece using some Tombow tape runner. Just get that down. And then I'm going to use the measurements on my Versamat to line up the rectangles. So I'm placing them on my card front. I'm just going to place everything out first just to kind of see the design. And then when you're putting three things on the front of a card, the easiest way to space them out evenly is to start in the middle. So I'm using the measurements on my Versamat and finding the center. And then I'm going to glue these frames down using white Tombow glue. I'll place that frame down in the center first, and then I'll put my the frames on either side. And that way you get them spaced out evenly. And then I'm going to place my colored panels inside using Tombow, and it will look like an inlay because it goes flush inside that stitched frame. Putting a puzzle piece together. Okay. And then I'm going to pop my sentiment using some foam tape. And this is extra foam tape that you get when you make your shaker cards. I'll just put that down in the middle. And then to finish it off, I'm going to add some acrylic dots. These are from the In This Together collection. And I'm just using a few of the orange dots. And there's my finished card. So cute. Love all those cats. My favorite is the one in the box. Cats love boxes, right? So I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.